Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. This is Jim Grzanzio from the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and I'm here with Timo Giese, a systems engineer from Germany. And Timo is one of the speakers on the Oracle Groundbreakers India Yatra, which is a very large conference that took place last week, this week, and will actually continue on next week, 3 full weeks. And so, Timo, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
It's very good to meet you. I specifically, when I'm doing a lot of interviews, I'm going to do about 30 interviews for this conference, which is way more than I usually do. But since it's online, I have quite frankly, have a captive audience. And I also have in this particular conference a very large number of people I've never met before. And so I specifically reached out to developers and DBAs and executives and CEOs, all speakers at the conference that I didn't know. So I don't know you, so that's why you're here. So it's
Great. Yeah.
nice to meet you. And before we get started in talking talking about some of the issues, maybe you can just give me a little head start by telling me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and then we can get into some details.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Timo. I'm a DBA and do a lot of stuff for our developers to make the database as efficient as they can use it. And I'm doing my job for about 15 years for Oracle databases and some other databases as well. And I like it. Yeah, I like the technology. I like finding new solutions for new problems. And I'm happy to work in a lot of projects where I can bring in my expertise and to build a solution who fits the market needs.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier you were in Germany. Where in Germany are you?
I'm based in Stuttgart, but I work in Karlsruhe. So it's in the southwest of Germany.
Okay.
And that's where I live and work. Yeah.
I've only been to Germany one time, and it was Berlin, and it was in the middle of the winter. It was a great trip, though. It was really, really good. It was back for Open Solaris a long time ago when I used to be at Sun Microsystems. So I never had a chance to go back.
I remember Open Solaris. Yeah,
Yes.
a long time ago. I had to do with it as well. Yeah, in my old company, and
Cool.
yeah, haven't heard it for years.
Yes. Well, it didn't quite make it, but when it was alive, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, definitely. Times
So
are really great.
So you're doing a talk, grid infrastructure and ASM, not only for rack. So let's talk about that a little bit. First of all, have you given the talk, or do you still have to give it?
No, it's just over. It was
Okay.
last week at the 1st of July. And
Okay.
yeah, I think it was really great. Yeah, I liked it.
Cool.
It was my first online event for the OGYatra was the first one where I have given a talk online. Yeah,
This was your first online event, period,
exactly.
oh, really? Oh, okay.
Really, the other ones were just native conference, and this one was the
Oh.
first online. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I had to give a talk as well last weekend. I don't do this very often, but because I focus on community building, things like that. And I was very impressed with how it was organized in terms of how they handled the speakers,
Definitely.
And
I liked it.
good.
The intro was really great and it was really great organized. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you get a chance, maybe next year or the year after, whenever we are allowed out again, if you get a chance to get down to India, and you can see and participate in one of their live events, they do a phenomenal job organizing. The community is very active, and they put on really great events. So I'm glad that their virtual events have taken a lesson from their physical events,
Yeah.
being well organized. So let's talk about your talk. What is grid infrastructure and ASM, not only for rack? What is that? I have no idea what
Yeah,
that is.
no idea. So I will explain it to you. So the idea is that you can use the grid infrastructure. It's an Oracle technology for storage management and ASM without rack, just for your single instance. If just a server want to develop it, and I show in this talk makes sense and could help you to ease the administration of your databases, not only the complex ones if you build a rack system. So I like it also to use grid infrastructure and ASM because of the performance. And I think developers would appreciate if the performance is very good. And we give this technology to our developers, the database on grid infrastructure ASM for their development environments to get the most out of them. And this talk is showing the parts which are involved, how you can make it, how you can manage your databases, and what is worth doing with it. And you can use it for many test databases, like using with multi-tenant or with DataGuard. And one extra part, which is very interesting, is it's free. It doesn't cost anything else more. You just have to pay the database license. So I think it's a good fit for everyone, for us as DBAs and for the developers, for performance and easy of use, and the ways we can provide them with database services.
So it sounds like, from just listening, it sounds like it's mostly geared toward DBAs.
Yeah, I think mostly it's for DBAs how they can use it, because it's not the traditional way like you Oracle did it for databases on file system or something else. But I think it could also be interesting for a DevOps team or something else who will build up their databases for themselves, and maybe they will use grid infrastructure ASM for build up their test environments, and then they use databases within this construct for providing their development work, for doing CI/CD or something else, or to bundle their application with the grid infrastructure ASM. Because one other aspect is you can use third-party applications like your own, integrated with a database on the same server with grid infrastructure. So it's possible to set dependencies. So please start my database first and then my application. So I think this could also be interesting for developers who are building a new product and want to ship it to production, because you can use it from development to production as well. And I think if they are doing it for themselves in the development part, maybe if you get more and more to the production environment, then you hand over your part to the DBAs and maybe your application as well. Or you work together with the DBAs in a DevOps team.
Right. Interesting. No, it's actually good that it's for both. I mean, for different reasons. Is the talk based on sort of new information or not well known information, or is it how many people would be somewhat familiar with it from previous experience?
I think the technology is there since years, and maybe many have heard about it, and I heard about the technology in combination with rack. So the information is there, but often when I did some talks, I did this talk on some other conferences as well, not so many are using it for their single instance databases. So this is a wrap up of all versions. It's from usage from 12 to 19 or something else. It's always the same. I updated it that it fits all versions. So you could have started even with earlier Oracle versions. So it's introduced with Oracle 10, but you could use it efficiently maybe with Oracle 11 or 12.1. But it's up to now since 19 or 20. Yeah, it's always there. So no way why you shouldn't know it. But many of them stick to the traditional way, and that's the classic one. So I think in times where speed and agile is very interesting or common in companies, you have to provide a layer where you can build up your automation more efficiently. And I think grid infrastructure and ASM can help you.
It's interesting. I asked the question specifically because I've had conversations now with multiple people who say similar things that you've said, and in other words, the technology is there, it's available, but people have heard of it, they might know it's there, but they may not be using it as much as they could or should. And I find that to be a pattern, and perhaps it's just because there's just a lot there. The technology simply has a lot of features, and that's why I specifically asked that, because a lot of times people are talking about something that's brand new, and no one knows about it, right? Or sometimes the people are talking about things that have been around for a while, but here's a new way of using it. Here's this is why it's valuable, this kind of thing. So that's why I asked that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
um, so, okay, you mentioned this is the first time that you've presented to OGYatra, and
Yeah.
now obviously everything is virtual, so all these conferences are online, so you mentioned a little bit earlier before we started recording that you used to do a lot of traveling, used to go to a lot of conferences, and this is something that you enjoyed. Let's talk a little bit about the community at this point. You going out to conferences, previously, what was that like? What was the benefit of being able to get out and mix with the community?
I think it's an awesome experience because there are more people like you who like the databases or development parts around database or something in the computer business, and you can talk to them. Then I like that the people are open-minded, so you can ask anything and they don't blame you if you don't know it, so they are willing to give and share their knowledge. And that's what I like too, to give something back to the community, to share my knowledge with others, and then answer questions for them. And that's why I try to participate in this community and share my knowledge for the other ones, and just for me as well, to learn something new. So even I, as doing 15 years of DBA work, can learn something new every day, and that's the real part. And on conferences, I think meeting the community people, it's more easily, because if you're in your company and you have to work, and if your project you're something in a line and don't get out of things and have to do something and can't think of new ideas. And if you share ideas with the community or get asked a question there, maybe you get a new impression of something you want to do in the future or want to implement in your company. So that's why I like being a part of this community. And I think the Oracle community is really a great one.
Yeah, it's interesting because I ask this question a lot because I'm interested in the different perspectives of interacting with the community, because you guys are in an interesting position because you're doing technical work, but the technology grows and changes pretty rapidly, so you have to keep up. And one of the ways that people keep up and sort of re-educate themselves is by interacting with the community. You have new people. That's where you obviously going to conferences and things, and it's a way for new people to get involved, but it's also a way for the more established people to stay stay skilled up, right?
Exactly.
So how does it work now when there's no physical conferences? How are you sort of fulfilling that need now?
I think it's the same as before. And as I've seen around the last month, there are many talks available online, or this online format like OGYatra. So I think that's the right way to share the knowledge. And I don't think, and I'm glad that didn't happen, that it will stop. So the conferences didn't take place physical, but they moved it to virtual events. And so even more people can participate, even if they are not able to come to the conference in physical way. So they have more chances to learn something new and to educate themselves at home. And if you're at home, that like me for a long time, because I'm not in my office, I I appreciated that if you're working from home, you have sometimes more time to just jump into a webinar or something else and about a topic, because sometimes if I'm in my office on my desk, I don't have the time to participate on online events. It's really impossible. And if I'm at home, it's more quiet and it's better makeup. I think so.
Right.
So the chances are in this way, in this period, better for IT people to educate themselves.
You think it's actually better now?
I like the physical ones, but if I look at my colleagues or some people, I think for them it's a great way of learning something and to be comfortable with them and to have their homes and then to do this part because they don't want to travel. I like it and I like to meet people in person, but people are different, and I think there's a chance for other ones. Yeah, and
that's actually a good point. There's a certain group of people that love to travel, even though it is hard. It's physically hard. And there's a certain group of people who don't like to travel. That they now have significantly more opportunities for contacts and for content, for exploring the content of their field. So interesting. I think I hadn't actually looked at it that way before. All right, Timo. It's good talking to you. I'm glad your talk went well, and hopefully, maybe next year I'll see you in India at Yatra.
Hopefully, yeah.
And we can actually meet live and in person. So
yeah,
thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, you're welcome.